Okay, we're going to do XYR ratios. We're going to tie a little bit of what we did yesterday in here. Does anybody know what 4 letters I put into the quadrants with a little saying? Do we remember it? Astica. Okay. So, what do I know about quadrant 3? What do you know about quadrant 3? What's going on? Tan is positive, which means sine and cos would be negative, right? Okay, so that can be some background knowledge that we'll use today. Okay, we're gonna draw a point at 3, 4. So do you know how to draw that coordinate? Do you know where it would be? Which quadrant would it go into? Into the first quadrant? Yeah. So 3, 4. So I'm going to draw an angle going through that. Okay, where do we always talk about making our reference angles? To the nearest x-axis. And can you draw a triangle that connects to the x-axis? Don't connect it to the y-axis. Do you understand how that would look? Don't connect it to this, connect it to the x-axis. Okay, so now the coordinate 3, 4, does it make sense that this side length would be 3? And then this side length would be 4? Because that's the x and that's the y, which goes horizontal, vertical. And do you have some kind of past strategy to figure out the third side of this? Do you know something from grade 10? Does a squared plus b squared ring a bell? Pythagorean theorem? Okay, are we getting this to be 25? And then if I square root it, does it make something perfect? Yeah. 5. If it doesn't make something perfect, I'm just going to leave it root 25. Okay, but in this case it did. Okay, so this is the labeling. If you wanted to know, this would be an x value, right? And this would be a y value. The 4 is a y value. And the 5 is what I call an r, because what do you think the r would stand for in this visual? Radius. The radius. It's a radius because it's coming from the center. So that's why it's an r. Okay, so now we're going to figure out what is the sine of this angle, what is the cos of this angle, and what is the tan of this angle. Okay, we're going to go 2 methods and then you can pick which one you like. So method 1 is if you use your grade 10 strategies. Do you remember SOHCAHTOA? That was grade 10. So the sine of this angle is the opposite over the hypotenuse. Which side is opposite? 4 over the hypotenuse, 5. Okay, that was grade 10. Cos, the ka, says to do the adjacent divided by hypotenuse. So if you're looking at this angle, adjacent is 3, hypotenuse 5. And tan is TOA, so opposite divided by adjacent. So opposite divided by adjacent. And that's your answer. Okay, so that was grade 10, just going SOHCAHTOA. Or grade 11 is that I give you these 3 formulas. Okay, I give you them in grade 11, and in grade 12 you have to have them all memorized. Okay, so if I'm going to do sine of the angle, the formula says take the y and divide it by the r. So y 4 r 5. Right? Same answer. Okay, so you can just pick which way you want. The cos formula, so cos theta says to write the x and then divide by the r. Okay, so that's just filling in, and that's on your formula sheet. So on your test, I would give you those 3 formulas if you like that method. Okay, what do you know about where this point is? It's in quadrant 1. What should all of your trig values be? They should all be positive, and they are. Okay, did you also see when I'm writing a trig equation? It has 3 parts. A trig equation always has 3 parts. Do you see the 3 components? So you always will have those 3 breakdowns. You'll have the trig function. So sine, cos, or tan. Then you always have to put something for the angle. So sometimes it'll be like 30 degrees and sometimes it will be the variable. And this is the trig value. Often it's either a decimal or a fraction. Bless you. Okay, but it always has to have those 3 parts. I get a lot of people who just write sine equals 4/5. Sine what? You have to have this, this, and this. Okay. If you like to just kind of have this memorized, I have a little trick for my grade 12s. There's a little bit of a rhyme here. So you're really cute. X rated thank you. Excellent. So if you like to have it memorized, you'll probably say that in your head a few times yet. So you're really cute. X rated. Thank you. Excellent. Okay. Number 2, where are you going to draw this? Tell me which quadrant it will go into. Did you pick number quadrant 2? Okay, so I'm going to draw myself an angle that goes through that. And then I'm going to make a triangle. Okay, the -5 is going to go on which part of that triangle? You have to put the -5 on one side. You do it on the horizontal. And the 3 would go on the vertical side. It's a Y. So I need to know what the R is. Okay, now here's the number 1 most important rule of this unit. Okay? When we are doing negatives, we're going to do the negatives based on location, but we're not going to do negatives in our math. Okay? This is a -5 based on where it is. But when we do Pythagorean theorem, we just use 5 because it's a distance of 5, a distance of 3. Okay? Does that make sense? Don't put your negatives in your math. The negatives in this unit will help us with the location stuff. Okay, so 25 plus 9 should be getting us a 34. Does that square root perfectly? No. Nope. So I'm going to leave it. Okay. So sine theta, sine of the angle, which would be like this that we're talking about. So you can go so, or you can do y over r, whatever method you like. If you're doing the so, pick that out, or y over r. That look okay? Y and r. Okay, cos theta. So if you pick your method, you're either doing a ka or xr. And tan, your method is either TOA or YX, depending on which method you're picking.
So you put your negatives in for this?
Yes. Okay, this is fine to write it like that, but you'll never see me write a number like that. I would just write it as like that. Negative 3/5. Okay? That's how I just write stuff, but this is fine. If you leave it like that, that's fine. Okay, what do you know about where we are? What should happen? This should be positive. Is this number negative? Is this number negative? So that was good, right? It came out to match. All right? Right? Positive, negative, negative. That's what should be happening. All right. We are given that the cos is negative 4/5 and that cos is positive. Figure out what cos and tan will be. Okay, so I want to know what quadrant am I in. So this is from yesterday. If sine is negative, where could you be? You got 2 check marks. Sine negative. Do you remember where sine is negative? Bottom. Cos is positive.
2 and 4.
Cos is positive. I think 1 and 4.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So the decision is we're going to be in quadrant 4. Okay, I've been given 2 parts of my triangle. I've been given a negative 4 and a 5. So which part of the triangle is negative 4? The y, and this would be the r, right? Because that's what sine is. So negative 4 and a 5.
It's positive 4, negative 5, right?
No, the radius will always be positive. Yeah. But look at where the y is. The y is down. So it's,
Right, yeah.
yeah. So it's for sure negative, yeah. Okay, before we even solve for this other side, can you determine if it's positive or negative? What kind of x value would this be? Positive or negative? Positive. So can you decide that before you even do your math? Because you want to make sure you get it in there. Sometimes you got to understand your math and then location. You got to figure them both out and put them together. Okay, how do I get this side of a triangle? What am I doing a little bit different with my Pythagorean? Before, do you remember what we did? We did a squared plus b squared. So what are you going to do here? You're going to do this squared minus this squared. Because this is a smaller side, right? When you do the biggest side, you add, but when you do a smaller side on the triangle, you have to do the Pythagorean subtract. So 25 subtract 16 should be 9. Does that square root nicely? Yes. 3. Now would be make sure you understand, is it a positive or negative 3? Okay, now the question. What's the cos of the angle and what's the tan of the angle? So can you write me the fractions for both of those?